Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are and whatever time it is. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here. This is a tutorial on how to upgrade your presence on LinkedIn. And first, I guess a good question to answer is why in the world do you want to upgrade your presence on LinkedIn? And here's my observation. Lots of folks out there who are thought leaders who I really believe pretty much everything that comes out of their mouths are saying that LinkedIn is the social platform that's going to be the most useful place for all of us, including having fun, being entertained, and really expanding our career network as well. And I kind of believe them in part because with the addition of social audio, for example, it does seem like LinkedIn is meeting more and more of our needs. So social audio is going to bring a whole big influx of people over to the app who've been using Clubhouse and Green Room, et cetera, and who've been engaging with their communities and creating new communities that way are now going to come over to LinkedIn. So it's just an example of like how this will grow exponentially. So, that's what other people are saying, and I'm in agreement with them. But also, like from my point of view, I've just really enjoyed the platform. Now that I've been more active on it, I've gotten to meet lots and lots of different people, and I feel like every day there's a piece of content that just kind of blows my mind or expands my mind. So I've really enjoyed the app as I've been a lot more intentional about how I've been using it, which is what I want to share with you today. We will talk about your profile, we'll talk about engaging in meaningful ways, and we'll talk about how to create content that's high value and that isn't an ordeal to create. All right. So first we'll take a look at my profile, and I'll walk you through just some aspects of it that hopefully could be some quick upgrades if you don't already have these underway. So one is the banner. So it's nice to include something that really speaks to who you are. It can be a photo of yourself. It can be a photo of, let's say you're an architect, some architecture or something from your portfolio if you're a graphic artist, or maybe your company's logo, you name it, something in there that helps other people connect and learn what you're all about. It's that know, like, trust continuum, right? You want people to know you, like you, so they can trust you. Your profile photo is obviously important. You can also create a video welcome. And some of the things I share with you right now, I'm not going to tell you how to do it because you can just Google it and you'll get a better description than the words that come out of my mouth. But a nice video welcome is a lovely addition. You can also do an audio welcome, which is especially helpful for people who are finding you from social audio applications. So they're going to come over here and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's Anne's voice. I recognize that from blah, 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 when I met her on Clubhouse in XYZ room. A note about your profile picture is that if it's more than 5 years old, it's way too old. So please do create an updated profile pic. You can do that at home as a selfie. Just use some filters. Make sure that you're, kind of framed properly. You want to be looking at the camera. You want to be engaging with the person who's looking at your photo, and you want to look approachable. So, framed properly, looking at the camera, smiling, looking approachable, have it be within the last 5 years. Those are just some rules of thumb there. I want to talk a little bit about this top section of your intro. So these words are all keyword. They're all search engine optimizational. Is that a word? Optimizational? Optimization. They're all relevant to SEO. So you want to include some power-packed terms in here. This section here where I say I work with organizations, donors, and fundraisers who deliver on the promise of a better world through effective philanthropy. That's a sentence that came as a result of some pretty deep work on myself, with myself, on, what is my why? What do I want other people to look to me as and look to me for? I edited this sentence probably 17 times. So I would set aside a little bit of time to come up with that. And it can be a really cool existential process. I'll just share a couple of other little things about how I make this a power-packed section. I have the word mom in here, which I am. But that was a response to a trend about a year ago to help kind of normalize and socialize that, moms in the work world are equally as relevant as anybody else. And this was a response to COVID sending so many moms home. So I try to pay attention to some trends and movements on the application and then kind of do stuff in my own profile or in my own content that responds to those trends to just stay, you know, on top of things. Let's see. What else? Yeah, just good terminology. You want to add in some hashtags on things that you talk about regularly. The open to section will show you, that's a place for you to indicate to recruiters that you're available. There's lots and lots of things that you can add to your profile, all combinations of stuff. Let's see. When you click on this little pencil, you can edit your contact info. I include lots of contact info. I haven't ever had any reason not to, but I just want to give people the opportunity, if they need to get a hold of me, that they can do that really easily. All right, scrolling down to other sections of your profile that have a lot of potential to help other people get to know you easily. This featured section allows you to pin certain posts. So let's say you post something that gets a ton of engagement. You can put it in the featured section. Let's say you create a piece of content that you're like, this is just so me. This describes me to a T. If somebody wanted to get to know me, they could watch this or read this or whatever, and they would get to know who I am really quickly. So you would pin those to the featured section. I want to dive in. Okay, the about section is really important, and everybody has an opinion on what the about section should be and what it should say and how long it should be. Two things I'll add though. One is this should not be a recap of your resume, because you've got your resume down here essentially. And also people will only see, this beginning line and maybe a little bit here. So you've got to have a really power-packed first sentence. I don't know if I've accomplished that here, but something to keep in mind. You want this to be juicy because you want them to click see more so they can learn more about you. I want to say a little bit about the recommendations section, because I think this is such a cool opportunity for all of us to help each other. By asking for a recommendation, you give someone the opportunity to share with the world, their relationship with you, what they've observed, what they like, and why other people should want to work with you as well. It also gives you the opportunity to do the same for somebody else. So you get to grow your know, like, and trust factor with people who are giving you the recommendations and who you are giving the recommendations to. And then you also get to build that social proof so that other people out there in the world will get a sense of like, oh, wow, Brenda and Kelsey and Julie are engaging with Anne, and they read and they're like, oh, wow, that sounds really good. So it inspires other people that like you're a legit person, you're pretty cool, like you're doing neat stuff, and they want to interact with you because these other people do. And also, if you're having a bad day, you can just look at your recommendations. It's like such a pick me up. When I do ask for a recommendation, I will sometimes give people some little bullet points or some hints or suggestions on what they might uniquely be able to comment on, because I don't want to make anybody do a writing assignment. Like, this is not meant to be like an arduous request. So I try to make it easy on them. And plus, that helps me kind of curate little bits and pieces from my life so that I kind of show up here as a whole human by having people from all different areas of my world saying, sharing their unique observations on me. All right, so that's recommendations. Highly, highly, highly encourage you to get into the recommendations game. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit now about engagement. So how do you engage on LinkedIn in ways that are efficient and high impact? So obviously, you've always got your feed. When you hop on the app, you're going to start, scrolling. You're going to see stuff that has like different degrees of relevance to you, different degrees of impact and interest. But let's say you happen upon Okay, I subscribe to a couple of things from my alma mater, and I might be able to share something just like, "Yay, Alina, go! I love, I'm so cool, so happy to see you doing the cancer research that you're doing. This is rad, and it makes me proud of my alma mater." Boom. Other people see my name there. They may look at my profile. They may find a reason that they want to connect with me because we've got that, that connection to University of Illinois. It's really important to engage in other people's content. My children, my teenagers have shared with me that it's actually not nice to lurk and to enjoy people's content and not engage at all, which I guess I kind of get it. It took me a long time to understand it, but now that I post more content, I really do understand it because I love it when people engage. Um, so engage with other people's content. It's important to note that LinkedIn gives you as much like zhuzh for your engagement with other people's content as it does for your own content. So if you're wanting to get reach, um, the way to do that is for the algorithm to know that you're supporting the community, right? And by posting your own unique content. But you know, that engagement is what LinkedIn is really trying to encourage with the way the algorithm works. All right, so that's your feed. You're going to find some stuff in there and you're like, oh, okay, I can send a little comment or do a like or do a heart or a light bulb or whatever. And then you've got the hashtag strategy. So I'm going to put in hashtag fundraising, and that's going to curate, I'm going to just look for posts. That's going to curate the universe of LinkedIn posts so that it's more relevant to a topic that I have in mind. So, for this, actually, it's interpreting fundraising as all kinds of fundraising, and this is for startups. But I'm actually in Y Combinator, so it's possible that the algorithm somehow knows that and push that content out to me. You'll get ads or influencer ads that are more relevant to you when you're inside a hashtag, and just lots of like, this is amazing. Well, it's a couple days old, so I missed it, but it's cool to know that it exists. I love Ria Wong. I bet you she's got a replay. I could write to her and ask her if she could send me the link to the replay. So easy peasy way to engage with content that you're super interested in by using a hashtag strategy. Another way is to use groups. So I'm in a couple of different groups. One is Philanthropy Network. And here's where, again, LinkedIn is curating a whole universe of content into one nice, neat, clean, and organized feed for me where I can engage with other people who are also interested in these things. So that's a nice way to just, meet some people, share some ideas, learn from them, maybe create some new connections. Speaking of connections, let me talk a little bit about how to get new people into your network. So one of the ways, of course, is posting on other people's content because they're going to see, people will see you as part of the conversation and they'll be like, oh, I should check out what Anna's up to. They look at my profile and they're like, boom, I want to connect with her, and they send me a connection request. Another way is, let's say you're seeing other people comment and you're seeing their content and you're like, wow, I like what they're up to. That's pretty cool. You reach out to them, you request a connection, and maybe when you request that connection, I'll give you an example. I gotta be at the front page. I'm going to find my husband. So let's say I wanted to connect with him. I look at his whole profile, go to more. This says remove connection, but it would, if I wasn't connected to him already, it would say, request connection. And then you get a pop-up where you can write, oh, Donnie, it was so nice to meet you at the Thingamajig. I'm looking forward to getting to know you. I'll pay attention to your content. Love to connect here. Boom, request, they decide. And then you're connected or you're not. The other approach is that sometimes I won't write a message. I'll just request connect. They look at my content, they decide if they want to connect. Then when they connect with me, I leave them a voice memo. So to leave a voice memo, you do this on your phone. You go into, let's say you've got one of your connections. You go to message, and instead of typing where you would normally type, it's not very helpful. Instead of typing where you would normally type, You hit the little tiny microphone there, and you can leave them a voice memo. People go bananas for voice memos. It's a great way to begin a relationship. Okay, so those are some ideas on how you can engage in really high value ways. I'm going to talk a little bit about content right now. So we want to create a post. You've got lots of different options for what you might post. You've got images. So an image can be, a photo from that you've taken. It can be a stock photo from a website like Upsplash, or is it Unsplash? Unsplash or Upsplash has beautiful stock photography that's free. Or you could have created an image in an app like Canva that's original to you. You create something kind of visually interesting. Maybe you've got a photo that you want to have like some kind of frame around and some text on it or whatever. You can get as creative or as basic as you want. If you do want to create images in Canva, one of the ways to make it super easy peasy is to go on Etsy and buy a template package. Just put in like LinkedIn template package. And for like $9.99, you can get a whole bunch of templates. You're only going to like a few of them, but that's all you need. Those get uploaded into Canva, and then all you have to do is like slightly edit those, and you will have your own original content. If that doesn't make sense, just let me know. I can walk you through it. Of course, you could post video. Interestingly enough, video does not get as much reach as images do. I do not understand why, just the way that it is. You can create a poll. Polls get tons of traction, lots and lots of reach. You can write an article. I don't know where that is. Maybe it's I'm not sure. It's here somewhere. You can write an article. Articles don't get as much reach, but they are an opportunity to say a lot about yourself, like a lot from your own brain out into the world. And sometimes what I'll do is if I write an article, I'll be sure to pin it on the featured section so that it gets more of a life. It gets like a second life that way, or take the article and like take the pithiest points of it and then make that into a piece of content. A couple of thoughts on where to get ideas for content. If you're having a conversation with a colleague and then you bring it up with like somebody else, now you know that there are at least a couple people who are interested in this subject. So you might then Google it and see if there's some articles or something out there. So what's going to happen is you're going to like reach this tipping point of, here's a topic that people are interested in, that if I say something about it, it might be of benefit. So you do that. Create a post based on a conversation that you started with a colleague. So that's an idea. Or let's say that you last week sent an email to somebody describing how to do something. Well, how-to content is really helpful to people. So you may be able to, really mine your own content that you've already created or intellectual property you've already created. Like, let's say you've done some trainings, you've got slides, you've got talking points. You can very easily turn that into a post. Sometimes you just want to do something fun and funny to get people to get to know you a little bit better and give them a little pick-me-up in their day. You can share other people's content. It doesn't give you any boost in the algorithm, but that's okay sometimes. You want to just add value, add a sense of who you are in the world by posting other people's content sometimes, or sharing other people's content. And plus it's nice to do. It's nice to do for the other people. Other ways to be inspired. Did I already talk about hashtags? Did I ever talk about emojis? I'm just going to cover it really quickly. When you do a post, a couple of ways to stop the scroll. Up at the top here, you can use some emojis, and you're supposed to start this with a question. I don't do it right, and so that's unfortunate. I try, but I don't. And you want to make this juicy enough that people then want to click the see more, and then they can read the rest of your content. You want to use a good hashtag strategy. Sometimes they say that 5 to 7 is good. Sometimes they say 3 to 5. I don't know. One of the Pieces of advice that I heard in a bunch of different places is that you want to choose one really general hashtag, like hashtag fundraising, and then choose a really specific one, like hashtag annual giving. So then your content will maybe show up on one of the hashtags with, like, let's say lots and lots of posts, but lots and lots of people, and then one that's like more niche, right? Like you've got just annual giving nerds checking into other annual giving nerds content, and your stuff would show up there. And then there's the idea of creating a custom hashtag. So I have hashtag Ann Murphy Philanthropy, so I can always find my stuff and other people can always find my stuff. So emojis, question at the top, people see the beginning, hashtags, and then I'll leave a final thought on how to get engagement on your content is to ask for it. So it's just like YouTube. You know how the YouTubers say, like, if you like this, like or subscribe or, click that button or whatever. It's like that with LinkedIn too. If you ask for engagement, you will get engagement. If you don't, there are lots and lots of lurkers and you may not get engagement, but that doesn't mean that people don't like your content. Happens to me all the time where I'll post something and it looks like crickets. And then people will say something to me about it, like, in the hallway or in an email or in a message on Instagram or in a DM. So I know that people are enjoying it. I just don't know if they, like, I don't know why they don't engage, but if I ask for engagement, I'll get it. So those are some thoughts that will help upgrade your presence on LinkedIn. Dig into your profile a bit. You don't need to do all the things, but do some of the things. Um, get a little bit more strategic about what your feed looks like and where you're going for your content, and definitely engage with other people's content. It's just an awesome thing to do, and you'll meet a lot of nice people doing that. And then thirdly, find ways to create content where you're leveraging stuff that already exists in your life or in your brain. And then look at shortcuts like using templates from Etsy, creating your own like standardized little templates in Canva. There are lots of ways for you to streamline. In the beginning, it takes a long time to create content, and then it just gets easier and easier, and then it becomes second nature. That's been my experience anyway. I hope that's helpful. If you have other questions about things that I didn't comment on, please let me know. I would love to talk to you and share any other tips and tricks that I have. If you have tips and tricks, please, please, please share them with me because I'm always learning. And I hope that helps you make the best use of the platform and enjoy your time on it even more than you already do. Great. Hope this is helpful.